Hello everyone, my name is Ryan. I am a developer at Ink and Arrow Marketing. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use a low-code / no-code solution like Bubble.io to make a simple application. Basically what this application is going to do is connect to OpenAI API and it's going to write ads for us. So a user will enter in their company or their product or their service, and then it'll make a call to OpenAI, and then it will come back with an ad. So the first thing you want to do is go to Bubble.io. If you have an account, log in. If you do not have an account, make sure to sign up. It's completely free. You can start building this right away. Once you log in, you will come to a page like this. Yours will be empty, but these are apps that I have been working on. And the first step that we're going to take is hit create an app. Now you get to name your app. So I'm going to name mine API test here, and then click get started. Since we're just now building this app, it comes with the basic features. If you want to deploy this app or do anything else, it says here you have to upgrade, and it's not that expensive, but you can still build it and experiment without actually having to pay for anything, which is what I like. So once you hit get started, it'll bring you directly into your app. What I like about Bubble is that it's very simple, it's very easy to use, and I will show you all the steps on how to do everything. It is very straightforward. So Bubble has this design page here where you can just drag and drop elements into the page. You can edit basically anything you want. You can make workflows, which we'll go over a little bit later. You can connect it to a database, which is outside of the scope of this video, but in later videos we will be working more with the database and the data types and showing all the connections and everything. But to start, the most important thing is to go to plugins here. So we need to install the API connector. This will be the first one here. It is provided by Bubble. It's completely free, and this is how we will actually make the call to OpenAI. So once you hit install, you can see that this pops up, and from here you can go ahead and go over to OpenAI API. If you just Google OpenAI API, it'll be the first thing that pops up. Again, you need to make an account, and after that, the first thing you should do is go into dashboard, go to API keys, and you need to create a new secret key. So this is the key that you will use to actually make the connection. Each person needs their own key for each app. You can use the same key for multiple apps, but if you have multiple people, it's just best if you guys have different keys. But I already have a couple here. Since I already have a couple, I'm not going to go ahead and make another one, but all you have to do is click create a new secret key, and it'll show you the information. Make sure you save that somewhere. And once you're there, you can go back into Playground. And this is where we're actually going to write our prompt. ChatGPT OpenAI allows for multiple models. This one right here is GPT-4. That's the one I like using. It's one of the newest ones that they have released, and it has a lot of good features. It's very robust. So what we have to do is prompt the system. Since I want my app to make ads for a company, I'm just going to prompt it by saying, write an ad for a company. Make sure that it is effective and catchy. So basically what this will do is whenever the user enters in the information, we'll have them enter in their company, for example, and it'll take that company and it'll just write an ad for it. So once you have this prompt here, you can hit view code, and what I personally like doing is getting the curl code. You can go and do Python, Node.js, curl, or JSON, whichever one you are most comfortable with, but for Bubble, I believe curl is the easiest. So then you just have to copy the code right there, go back into Bubble, and you're going to hit add another API. So what this shows us is basically everything that we're going to have to fill out. So right here, you just want to name your API. It's best to name it something easy and simple. Like I just do OpenAI API. For authentication, we can leave it to none or self-handled because this is actually handled by the curl call. It will import all of that stuff for us. So what I like to do is just import from curl. You can paste your code in there, and then you can hit import. And as you can see right here in this API call, we want to rename it, of course. You can see now it has set it to post. That is the call that we're going to make. If you don't know anything about APIs, it might be best just to look up something briefly. You don't need to be an expert by any means, but it's something simple and straightforward, and it's good to know. So these headers here, you can see we have content type, authorization, and this was all filled out by the curl. You want to make sure that this is set to private because the end user does not need to see this information. So it's best just to keep it private. Next thing you want to do is you want to get your API key and paste it in here. You need to leave the word bearer because that's what the documentation calls for. But the rest of this you can completely replace with your API key. Okay, so I have just now entered in my API key. You can see it's just this long string that just keeps going on forever. But pretty much that's where you need to do it. And next you want to come down here to the JSON data. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It is just a way of displaying data. And you can see here in the text we have our prompt that we just wrote in the OpenAI. Another thing to pay attention to that will be very important is you can see up here it says use the greater than or less than signs for dynamic values. So this is what we need to change for company because we want the user to be able to enter in their company. So what this will do is once you click out of it is it'll show this here, key and value. So I like just using plumbing, for example. So basically what this does is it would be write an ad for a plumbing company. Make sure that it is effective and catchy. It'll just replace company with plumbing. You want to make this not private because this is something that the end user will need access to. And after that, you just need to hit initialize call. It might take a couple of seconds, but it usually doesn't take too long. And now you can see here, since we have this message, that we know that it was effective. It worked. If you ran into an error of some kind, make sure just to double check that everything is correct, spelled out correct, that your API key works. But what we can see down here is we can see show raw data. And you can see here now in content, it has this bunch of data, all of this data. And it just basically provided ads. Are you tired of dealing with plumbing hassles? You can see how this is very effective and saves people a lot of time. You can also see the usage of tokens down here. So basically the way OpenAI works is that there are tokens. There's prompt tokens, which is the ones that you enter, and there's completion tokens, which comes from what OpenAI sends back. You do have to pay for these tokens in OpenAI, but they're not that expensive, and they honestly are a big help in making apps like this. They're, honestly necessary to make apps like this. So it's good to always keep track of this because you'll be using tokens with each call that you make. But you can get like 1 million input tokens for $5 and 1 million completion tokens for $15. And it's not that expensive, and you can make a lot of calls, especially for something as low token usage as this. So once you see that, if you like what you see here, you can go ahead and hit save. If not, just try rewriting the prompt maybe until you get something that you actually like. And congrats, you just set up your first API call. It is really that easy and simple. So after that, we're now going to move into the design tab. So what I like to do, first of all, is take all of the elements and put them on the page. So what we're going to need to begin with is we are going to need a group here. And just so we can actually see like where the group is, like if you click away from it, you can see that it's just white on white. I like to add a little bit of a border just so we can see. You can always change this later, but this is just for whenever we're actually developing it. It just allows you to see easier. What we're going to need is a text that will be for the title. We will need a text that will be where you write what the user needs to enter in, and then we will enter in an import. This is, or an input, I'm sorry. This is where the user will actually input the data. So what we're going to do is we're going to call this the advertisement development application. You can call it obviously whatever you want. Next here, we're going to say enter in your company / service. So this will give the user an idea of what they're supposed to do. And then lastly, what we're going to do is we are going to take a repeating group. We're going to place it down here. We're going to change the number of rows to 1. This is where the actual output is going to show up at. So we need to put that in there and put a text in there. And it is as simple as that. Now I will show you the actual connections. As you can see up here, we have one issue. And it says you need to remember to fill out type of content, which is what we're getting to, but I just wanted to bring this up because if you ever have issues, Bubble will tell you right there and tell you exactly where to go. And if you click on it, it'll show you exactly what the issue is. So this is actually where we're going to start. In the repeating group A, for type of content, you can scroll down and you'll see your plugin types. We are going to do API call choice. So this is what we named our API in the plugins tab over here. And for the data source, we need to do get data from an external API. So from here, we're going to do OpenAI API call, and it's going to show us what the value and the key that we put in earlier. We want to click insert dynamic data. So then we want to go down and click input A, input A's value. So that is actually this input here. You can see this is titled input A. So we are getting the value from here, sending it to the API, which will then return a response whenever we need it to. But going back into here, into the data source, you want to click more, you want to do choices, and that's it. So this is how you set it up. You want to make sure that your API call is up here, that your data source is set to your API call, and that the value is your inputs value right here. And then from there, we want to click on the text that we have in the repeating group, and we're going to do insert dynamic data. And all we need to click is current cells API call choice. And then we need to do message content. So that is completely set up, and you can see now if we run it, it'll run automatically. So there's no button to actually generate it. So it's going to take the initial value of plumbing and then make an ad for it. You can see it spinning here. So we have the plumbing services, and again, the whole design aspect I like to do last, just because I like making sure that it actually works first. So you can see if we change in here from a plumbing company to a roofing company, it'll take some time, but then it'll actually change it in here. And this is just to make sure that it's making a proper call and that it's detecting the input. So now you can see elevate your home with prestige roofing. So you can see how powerful this is and how easy it is to set up. Because I mean, if we didn't care about design, we could just leave it just like that and it works, right? But what I'm going to do is go back over into my editor here, and I'm going to try to make this actually look a bit nicer. So you can click arrange and you can send things to back, send things to front, you can center it. I like making sure everything is centered horizontally. You can put this over here so it lines up, and what we're going to do is now make this look a little bit nice. The beautiful thing about Bubble is that you have all the editing options right here. So for my title, I can make it bigger if I wanted to. I can center the text, I can make it bold. You can do really whatever you want. Something that I like as well is in the layout tab here, you can go down into margins and you can just type in however many pixels you want, and you see it gives a little bit of breathing room between all of the elements that you have, which is something that I think honestly just looks best. So after doing that, the last thing we are going to do is bring in a button. This button, we will label it as generate. So whenever they click the button, it'll actually show all of this, the repeating group down here. So what I also prefer doing is turning this off so the element is not visible on page loading. So you can see if we preview again, it is gone. We can see the changes here. And then from there, you have to create a workflow to make it so that you can actually see this after they hit the button. So if you go right here, you can click add workflow. And this is where you'll be doing a lot of the actual connections and step-by-step items to tell your application what to do. So now you can see it says when button generate is clicked, you can click here to add an action. What we're going to want to do is go down to element actions. We're going to click show, and then we are going to click repeating group. So now whenever this button is clicked, it will actually show the output of the data. So now we are going to preview this again whenever it refreshes. Okay, and then we can just type in a company, like let's say an HVAC company, right? You click generate, it pops up, you can see it's loading there. And then after a little bit of time, you can see it returns exactly what you want. Discover ultimate comfort with BreezeMaster HVAC systems. And it's really as easy as that. Just like that, you made your first app. You can spend however long you want on design. Generally, what I like to do is center things, make sure they look good, maybe put a picture over here so there's not so much white space. You can change the text type, like, for example, one of my favorite fonts is right here, and it just makes it look cleaner and it makes it look more professional. You can really make it look however you want, and that's the beauty of Bubble. You can also edit the page. If you don't click on any element in here, you can edit the page, the appearance of the page. You can change the background color if you want. You can do anything you want. You can also change the background color of this if you want to make it so that it is it sticks out a little bit more. You can do anything you want. And that's the beauty of it. You have to make sure that the background style is set to flat color, and then you can change the color here. So then it pops out just a little bit more. So you can add shadows by going down into shadow style, outset. You can see it adds a little bit of darker line, adds a little bit of depth to it. And from there, you can just spend as much time as you want just editing the layout and the design. I'm not going to spend too much time on that because the purpose of this video is really just to show you how it works. You can use Bubble and OpenAI together to really do almost anything you want. As long as the AI can respond with whatever prompt you get in, whatever prompt you enter in, and it makes sense, then you can basically build anything you want. And that's the beauty of using no code, is you don't need to be super technical. You can watch a video like this one, and then from there, you pretty much got it down, and you can see exactly how easy it is here. So since I am a part of a company called Ink and Arrow, we actually use Bubble pretty often to build some of our applications. It's so much easier than full stack. It's not as robust, but if you don't have the technical skills, then it is super easy to learn, pick up on. I mean, it took me maybe 2 days, not even full days, to get it down and just start building apps. And it's super easy, simple, straightforward. So our company, Ink and Arrow, can actually build apps just like this one for you, spend more time on design, make it look really good. I can show you some examples of some finished product, but If you want an app built, all you have to do is reach out to us. We can build something in this. Or if you want something more robust, we can build you a full stack application. And if you qualify, you might even be able to get it for free. All you have to do is visit our website, inkarrowcode.com, and get in contact with us if you want an app like this built or if you want a full stack application built. So like, for example, I'll just show you some of the end products that you can have. We have this major app that I've been spending some time on, and design wise, it's not perfect yet, but we're getting there. It is a large application. You can see all of the pages and stuff. But you see, we have something simple like this. It looks clean, it looks nice. It's similar to the one I built, but a little bit different. Added some drop-down menus instead of inputs. And I mean, this by itself, once you know what you're doing, you can build something like this in 20 minutes. It is really super fast. But anyways, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below. And thank you. Have a good day.